This is Bobby Kraft, and I'm coming to you live on SNNLive at the SeeThruEquity 4th Annual MicroCap Investor Conference 2015 in New York City. With me to my left is Leonard Osser from Milestone Scientific, symbol MLSS. Leonard, welcome back to SNNLive.
Thank you very much, Bobby. Good to be here.
So it has been a little over 6 months since we last spoke, but before we get into an update, let's get an overview on Milestone Scientific.
Sure. Milestone Scientific is a company that has developed a new space in medicine in drug delivery. We invented a space where we can deliver drugs, any drug, by computer, which is safer, more efficacious, and a savings of money, and it adheres to the Affordable Care Act in the United States. We have developed instruments that are now completed. Those instruments have passed regulatory, and they're being sold now in the European community. We've started with one distributor, we're working on others, and we're in the FDA and clinical studies on one of those instruments now.
So before getting into the update, I'm a little curious on the technology itself, on the medical technology. So you're saying that you can do drug delivery through the computer?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, what it is when you deliver through a hypodermic syringe, which is the way you do it today, if you don't use our instrument, you're using an instrument from the 1860s which has no torque, no control, and a great deal of pressure, which inhibits you from doing many different injections that we've proven we can do. But if you take a traditional injection, by way of explanation, such as an epidural injection, today the way it's done is you have two syringes, one with saline solution, one with the drug. You use the saline solution to find a location. The problem is about 20% of the time, you find a location from a false positive and you inject too soon. If the woman's in labor, you have to wait 20 minutes to give her the anesthesia, which is quite problematic. But the real problem is a problem with morbidity. You go too far and you nick the membrane that surrounds the spinal cord. Then you're creating morbidity. The patient can have up to 6 weeks of severe migraine headaches, can have a temporary paralysis from the point of injection down up to 2 years, can have a permanent paralysis. This happens not out of one out of a million, it happens 4% of the time. The average settlement in the United States when this happens is $400,000. We can prevent this from happening the vast majority of the time by using our computer to determine for the doctor exactly where the tip of the needle is. That is major for that particular area of medicine, and it's a multi-billion-dollar marketplace, both labor and delivery and pain management.
So the computer itself tells the doctor or the physician, the doctor, where to put the needle on the body so that they don't go too far, or is that how?
That's precisely correct. And we embed algorithms into the computer of the patient's density of their tissue. We also embed the algorithms into the computer of everything involving the injection, the inner diameter of the needle, the length of the needle, the viscosity of the drug. All of this allows the doctor very simply to go directly to the site and not go too far.
So a little bit more on that. With regard, this is a platform technology. So this works for multiple different kinds of drugs that you can deliver.
Any drug, any injection can be vastly improved by our system. We've also created an instrument which is now cleared by the European community for intra-articular injections. These are injections into the joint. About 29 million people in the United States get regular injections into the joint for chronic disease such as osteoarthritis. The older you get, the more you exercise, the more apt you are to have osteoarthritis. Those injections are very painful, and it's difficult to find the site.
So, as I said, it's been a little over 6 months since we last spoke. I know the company's put out a couple releases yesterday and today. Maybe we'll speak a little bit to that, and also what else is going on in the company.
Sure. As far as releases go, we put out a release recently where the company is now going to be trading on the New York Stock Exchange market starting on Monday. That's very important to us, obviously, for visibility. We have also put into development 4 different instruments, which will be finished, some of them as quickly as 1 year, some of them 2.5 years. Our plan now is to move forward, being that we have capital in the company, and we have joint ventures and licensing arrangements. We plan to do 4 new instruments in development each year.
If you don't mind me asking, I'm just a little curious as to the cost to the doctor or to the medical institution to install, like for instance, where you're already, because you're already selling it in Europe, correct?
Yes.
Right. So what is the typical cost to put in the technology for them to use?
Well, when you look at another way of determining where the location is, let's take ultrasound. Ultrasound costs $20,000 to $40,000 per instrument. Our instrument will cost under $10,000. All in all, it saves the institution money, because when you look at the malpractice in epidural and certain other injections and the inability to do certain injections, which we can do, it's a cost saver. Also, under the Affordable Care Act, you must record an event. If you can. You cannot do it using the hypodermic syringe, but you can do it using our computer. So all in all, it's a cost savings to the institution. It's better for the patient, and it's much better for the doctor.
So, looking into the rest of 2015 and also into 2016 a bit, what can we expect from Milestone Scientific?
Well, you can expect more distribution partners in Europe. I would anticipate one new one signing on probably on a monthly basis. You can assume new instruments in development. As I say, we have 4. And you could assume certain joint ventures coming to pass and certain licensing arrangements, because we have no intention of diluting the stock from where it is today. So the investment into almost all of the new technology will be with partners' money.
And where can our investor audience go to find out more information about Milestone Scientific?
MilestoneScientific.com.
Again, my name is Bobby Kraft, and I'm here live on SNNLive at the SeeThruEquity 4th Annual MicroCap Investor Conference 2015 in New York City. Again, with me is Leonard Osser from Milestone Scientific, symbol MLSS. Leonard, thank you again for coming out to SNNLive.
Thank you very much, Bobby. Appreciate your having me.